Now that Labor Day has passed, the summer travel nightmare for passengers is over, right? Not necessarily. Airlines are still dealing with some of the issues that affected them during the summer. Henry Hardefelt is an expert on air travel and aviation. We had a conversation about what's next for the airlines and you, the passenger. So, Henry, you and I have seen some pretty bad travel seasons. How would you compare what happened this last summer to what's happened in the past?
David, I have been in and around the airline industry for my entire career. Never, ever have I seen a summer like the one we have just come through. It has been an operational disaster. It has been embarrassing for airlines. It has been frustrating for travelers. And to be honest, uh, uh, in aviation, it's a team sport, and really, you can just chalk up losing scores for airlines, for airports, for air traffic organizations, and others. And unfortunately, the traveling public also has to say they lost this summer as well.
Weather often plays a part in summer travel, and it did this last summer. But a lot of this was self inflicted by the airlines.
This summer, certainly, climate change has contributed to the intensity of weather disruptions, the longevity of them, the number of them. But it's not just weather. Airlines were not adequately prepared, and airlines were overly confident in their abilities to operate schedules. Going into the summer, airlines thought that they would be able to operate far more flights than they really were capable of doing. To their credit, when frankly, after the mess that was Memorial Day, they all pulled back. But at that point, it was also problematic. For one thing, flights were already full, so it left airlines with fewer flights and all these people that had to be accommodated. You still had pilots and other crew members and other employees getting COVID and being sick. Airlines were still struggling to hire employees this summer. Pilots, flight attendants, mechanics, and other workers. And of course, we had problems with air traffic management, not enough people there. I get it. Airlines want to make up for the terrible losses they experienced in 2020 and 2021, but they did themselves no favors this summer.
So the summer's over. We passed Labor Day. All those problems have disappeared.
If only the problems could look at a calendar and say, oh, Labor Day's over, we're going to hibernate for another 9 months. That's not the way it works.
Did the airlines learn a lesson during summer travel? And what are they trying to do now to repair the reputations and learn from those lessons?
So the airlines did learn this summer. The airlines are not cavalier. And I think if you were to ask any airline executive what she or he thought of their airline's operational performance this summer, I think they would all be admirably honest and say, we did not do our best. What they're doing is operating well below their limits. They are scheduling fewer flights in order to have more of a buffer, have more aircraft available when things go wrong, more spare crew members when things go wrong. And hopefully that means they can recover faster, whether it's bad weather, a mechanical problem, or something more extensive that causes a disruption. Some of the problems have abated. For example, we saw terrible cancellation rates and terrible delays. Those have all come down. The other good news, literally with every month that goes by, airlines hire and graduate that many more pilots, flight attendants, and other employees that they need to operate their flights. But we're still short a lot of pilots with the regional airlines, the airlines that operate 50 to 76 seat airplanes to smaller communities. By the end of this year, more than 50 cities in the country will have lost all of their regional airline service operated through their partnerships with American, Delta, and United. More than 50 cities.
So for those of us who may fly in the fall, since there are fewer people flying, the airlines are not going to grow as fast. They're not going to bring back flights that they canceled back in the summer. Should it be a decent time to fly, or is it still going to be problematic for flyers?
So flying in the fall and winter, and if you're thinking about this for Thanksgiving and Christmas, is going to be a mixed bag. There will be fewer flights this fall and winter than there were in 2019 because one, airlines know that they can't schedule to the full ability. They have to have more wiggle room, if you will, more room to recover when problems occur. They still are struggling with staffing, and they want to make sure that they have enough crew available to step in when problems do arise. You don't have all the business travelers back yet, and they make up the bulk of travelers basically between Labor Day and Thanksgiving. Business travel, depending on who you listen to and what data you look at domestically, is maybe at best 70% recovered. Some say it's closer to 60. Long haul international business travel is maybe at best half recovered, and that's mostly between the US and Europe, and maybe the Middle East. Asia is still, for the most part, off limits. You got fewer people, and that's why the airlines have fewer flights. The good news with fewer flights is fewer flights means less air traffic congestion. So hopefully the flights that operate are more likely to operate on time. The challenge is that if you are trying to go somewhere, it may still be more difficult than you remember trying to reach that destination. The schedules may not be as convenient. You may have to make a connection where you didn't before, sometimes even two. And depending on where you're traveling and when, the airfares may be substantially higher, whether you're looking for a leisure fare or a business fare.
Henry, thank you very much for your time. I'm David Curley. That's Full Throttle.